You focus on quotas, commission bumps, sales contests, all that stuff to light a fire under your team, right? That's the conventional wisdom. But what if I told you new research tracking sales teams over time shows that, well, the desire for more money is not significantly related to how hard your reps actually work?
That's right. We are challenging that compensation-first mindset. I'm breaking down this foundational research into 3 specific, actionable tactics you can use tomorrow to unlock consistent effort and performance.
This is Inside Sales Geek, where we translate academic sales research into practical strategies that actually work.
Today, we're looking at why sales motivation really needs an urgent update. For years, sales management has relied almost entirely on what we call extrinsic motivation.
Things like commissions, financial incentives, sales contests, all the external rewards.
Exactly. And the research we're looking at today isn't just a snapshot in time. They surveyed salespeople across a ton of different industries and, crucially, tracked longitudinal data, meaning they followed the same reps, their effort, their performance, across 4 consecutive sales cycles.
Right, at a major financial services firm. So this is solid, long-term data.
Our mission here is to understand where that true, sustained motivation really comes from. We're exploring intrinsic motivation, that sort of deep-seated engine that comes from internal satisfaction.
We already know the standard drivers for that, autonomy, competence, connection.
But this longitudinal data pinpoints a crucial and, I think, powerful missing ingredient. The researchers call it a sense of purpose.
Okay, let's unpack this immediately because this is where I think the conventional approach really fails. Let's jump right into tactic 1. Define and cultivate a cause greater than yourself. The core finding is that a sense of purpose, which they define as the belief that you are contributing to a cause greater and more enduring than yourself, is a huge motivator.
But here's the nuance, and this is where it can get a little academic, so let's just break it down.
Please do.
This sense of purpose is empirically distinct from something else called job meaningfulness.
And that distinction is important.
Oh, it's absolutely critical for sales leaders. If you confuse the two, you're missing the entire point.
So what's the difference?
Job meaningfulness relates to making a contribution to the organization. It's about feeling valued, using your skills, and hitting your tasks inside the company.
So job meaningfulness is basically, I'm a great account executive, my company appreciates me, and I crushed my quota this quarter.
Precisely. A sense of purpose, on the other hand, goes much wider. It relates to benefiting society or the actual lives of your customer.
It's external.
It's external, it's enduring, and it's much harder to achieve, but it's way more powerful as a long-term motivator.
I can hear a manager listening right now thinking, my company sells B2B software. How do I get my team to believe they're saving the world?
Right.
Isn't it a bit naive to think purpose matters more than, making rent? Especially on a high-pressure sales floor.
Not at all. And that's what the qualitative interviews in the study really showed. The reps weren't selling miracle cures. They were selling tires, glue, financial products.
Okay.
It's all about the mindset shift. Take the top salesman for a heavy-duty wheel manufacturer. His compensation was great, but his motivation wasn't the check.
What was it?
It was the knowledge that his high-quality sales meant that, and this is a quote, moms and dads are returning safely home to their families after an accident.
Wow, that fundamentally shifts the whole conversation from product specs to family safety.
Exactly. Or look at the B2B adhesive salesman. He was pushing for this expensive, high-quality chemical bonding, even when purchasing agents wanted the cheaper glue.
Why?
Because he knew the high-quality option ensured customer safety downstream, like a replacement windshield adhesive that holds up in a crash. He wasn't selling glue, he was selling security.
So, okay, what's the actionable takeaway for a sales leader here? You can't just share the company mission statement on a poster.
No, the research actually has a name for that. They call it sense giving. And it's not enough.
Everyone gets the mission statement on day 1.
Right. The manager's real job is sense making. That means actively helping your salesperson connect their everyday tasks, every single call, every feature they highlight, to a positive, lasting impact on other people.
So the coaching conversation has to change.
It has to.
You can't just talk about quotas and projections. You have to start asking, who did we help today? How did our product actually improve their life or their business?
That's the simple but, hard truth of it. That deeper connection is what keeps people going.
Okay, here's what surprised me about this research. The finding that money over the long term just isn't the primary driver of effort. That leads us directly to tactic 2. Shift your focus to intrinsic drives for sustained effort.
The data confirms this decisively. Intrinsic motivation, so the actions that come from a task being inherently interesting or satisfying, is way more positively associated with working hard and working smart.
Working smart meaning what exactly?
They measured it as adaptive selling, the ability to change your approach based on the customer's needs.
Got it. So that internal drive is more powerful than the external one over those 4 sales cycles.
Significantly.
So the commission check gets them in the door, but it doesn't keep them dialing the phone. The data showed that a desire for money was not significantly related to consistent effort over time.
Right. What's happening is that compensation, especially your base salary and expected bonus, operates as what we call a hygiene factor.
A hygiene factor.
It's necessary and expected. If the pay isn't fair or competitive, it's a huge problem, a massive dissatisfier. But once that base level is met, once the bills are paid, that financial carrot just stops providing sustained motivation.
It becomes the floor, not the ceiling.
That's a great way to put it.
It makes sense. I mean, chasing an extra 10% bonus for the 4th quarter in a row could easily lead to burnout if the only thing driving you is that check.
The research even highlights that relying only on compensation can lead to collateral damage. It actually diminishes autonomous motivation over time.
Which feels like burnout or just checking out.
Exactly. You just can't buy sustained high-quality effort.
Quick pause here. If you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's deep dive, and share this with your sales team. Especially anyone who thinks the only fix for a slump is another contest.
To get reps to consistently work hard and work smart, managers just have to prioritize those intrinsic levers.
And we now have 4 primary levers that are reinforced by this research.
1, purpose, which was tactic 1, reinforce that societal impact.
Okay.
2 is competence or self-efficacy. Basically, you have to invest in high-quality training so your reps genuinely feel like they have the skills and know how to do the job well.
They need to feel effective.
They need to feel effective. 3 is autonomy. Step back and let your salespeople determine the best way to get the result. Let them own the process.
And the 4th, which is always essential, connection. Building a team where people feel supported.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the impact of these drivers isn't the same for everyone on your team. It's being amplified by, well, demographic changes. And that brings us to tactic 3. Tailor motivation strategies for younger salespeople.
The research found that the positive impact of that intrinsic motivation, that internal satisfaction on both working hard and working smart, is actually strengthened when salespeople are younger.
This is critical context for every sales leader today. I mean, the workforce is undergoing this massive demographic shift.
Millennials and Gen Z are now dominating the sales floor.
And this study explicitly looked at age because these younger generations often have fundamentally different motivational profiles than, say, baby boomers or Gen X.
The context here is pretty startling. I mean, the researchers cited a poll showing that a huge majority, 79% of 18 to 29-year-olds agree that it's more important to enjoy my job than to make a lot of money.
That's a massive generational shift.
It really is.
Since many of these younger workers haven't experienced significant poverty, their needs sort of shift up Maslow's hierarchy. Things like self-actualization, enjoyment, and purpose become much stronger motivators right from the start.
They're using their job to figure out their place in the world.
In a very real way, yes.
So, wait. If I'm hearing you right, leading with the promise of a huge commission check in a recruiting pitch, that might actually be ineffective or even counterproductive with a top-tier Gen Z candidate.
It could be. If you focus primarily on the financial rewards, you might miss the very things that will get them to commit with long-term sustained effort.
You might hire them,
but you won't keep them engaged.
So practically speaking, what does this mean for training and recruiting?
It means that during onboarding and coaching, you have to prioritize meeting their needs for purpose, autonomy, and competence first. Frame their success not just in numbers, but in terms of mastery and impact.
You have to help them connect the dots.
Leadership has to actively help connect the dots between their daily tasks and that cause greater and more enduring than themselves. That connection is what will drive their effort, especially early in their careers.
This whole study really provides a powerful framework for moving beyond that, outdated idea that sales is just about the next carrot on a stick.
It really does.
It shows the true long-term drivers are internal and that managers absolutely need to adjust their strategy for the modern workforce. Okay, let's recap the 3 tactics you can implement tomorrow to modernize your sales motivation strategy. First, purpose over paycheck. Stimulate that intrinsic motivation by having conversations that emphasize how your product actually benefits customers and society. Remember the salesman? He sold safety, not just wheels.
Right.
Second, sustained effort. Prioritize building competence, autonomy, and relatedness. That internal motivation is what drives sustained effort and adaptability over time. Money is just the hygiene factor that gets them in the door. And third, the youth focus. You have to recognize that these intrinsic motivators, purpose, autonomy, competence, are even more important for your younger salespeople. Make them the primary levers for recruiting and training.
And just one final thought based on the data. The researchers saw that effort and performance follow the exact same pattern over time. So if extrinsic motivation doesn't guarantee effort, you have to think really critically about what that base level of compensation needs to be. Get the pay right so it's not a worry.
Get that hygiene factor handled.
Exactly. Handle that first. Then, purpose can truly take over and become the main driver of long-term success.
Pick one of these 3 tactics to test with your team this week. Track your results, then implement the next one. This has been Inside Sales Geek, translating academic research into wins for your team.